Right, so today we're going to be looking at the patterns in body size. So let's see how did we get here. So we established that 4.5.6 billion years ago life came to be. It took about 100 million years for the moon to come out, a billion years in a standby in which nothing was happening other than maybe what is called the protocell, that is like a plastic bag that contains molecules that then allow the first forms of life to come out about 3.6 billion years ago, what is called the prokaryotes that lived to the eukaryotes, and next thing you know you had 8.7 million species that we share the planet with. The species originate, they disperse, occupy what is called the geographical range. As the species overlap their ranges, they create patterns in species richness, and when they start interacting with the local environments and with other species, then they start changing their body size, as we established in the last class. Today we're going to be looking at some of the patterns in body size. Again, how the patterns in the distribution of body size in space and time. Let's just get started. Again, let's just review very quickly how a species get to be the size that it does. We established that it's basically the trade-off between the cost and the benefit of the body size in the face of several ecological and evolutionary forces. We established that some of those factors, ecological and evolutionary factors that shape the body size of a species are resources, the ecological interactions among species like predation and competition, climate, and human activities like hunting and fishing as well. So obviously, if you can imagine, there is a huge variability on these driving forces in space, and then there will be no surprise that you are going to have a huge diversity on the patterns in body size, which are the ones that we're going to be looking at today. So the first thing that you need to understand, given this huge diversity of ecological forces affecting species differently, is that there is not going to be a unique way in which bios influence the body size of a species. And here is an example, for instance, of a paper by those guys there, in which they look at the species richness of lizards and snakes, which are both reptiles, and you can see that they are very similar in the pattern. There is a high diversity here and a huge diversity here, and the diversity decreases as you increase latitude. So the pattern in species richness is very similar, but when you look at the body sizes of these two taxonomy groups, you find that they are actually very contrasting patterns. And again, that's one evidence to suggest that right there, that there is not going to be a single mechanism that can explain variations in body size. So most likely it's going to be something that is taxa specific, what makes these patterns on body size similar or different among species in space. Let's start looking at the patterns though. One of the first patterns that you find about body size in space is what is called the bermans rule. The bermans rule suggests that the body size increases in colder temperatures. The consequence of this rule here, that you have to be big every time that it's cold, is that you find normally species at higher latitudes having bigger body size. But why? The explanation for this is basically this. What happens is that when you look at the body size of a species against the temperature of these places, normally what happens is you find a decline again in body size as you increase temperature. And the explanation for this is basically the ratio between area and mass. So here's an example, for instance, of a species that should be large. It has a mass of 8, basically multiplication of this axis. Let's imagine that this is the body size of a given species. So you can see that the area will be 24, the mass 8, so the area to mass ratio will be 3. In this case, you will have a smaller species, a mass of 1, an area of 6, and you can see that in this case, this individual that is smaller has a larger area to mass ratio. Let me just simplify this. How does this have to do anything with temperature though? So the best example that I can find that most people can relate to, imagine that you had a big potato and you want to cook it. So you put the potato on hot water, you will realize, and you leave it there for a while, and you take it out and you cook it, you find that at times the core of the potato is not cooked well, right? That's because it's big. The area to mass ratio is small, so basically there is a hard time for energy to get to the core. So if you cut that potato in half, what you do automatically is you have the same mass, but now you increase the area of exposure of that potato. As a result, normally you cook potatoes faster that are smaller. And again, the consequence of that is because there is more area exposed to the elements that allows them to that energy to get faster to the core of the potato. Here is kind of the same thing, but in reverse, in the sense that a species needs to maintain energy. Energy is something that you don't want to be wasting. So if you are big, what happens is that the energy that is inside your core is going to have a hard time escaping to the environment. So places that are cold, where you really need to preserve energy, the evolutionary strategy is for you to get big so that you can accumulate or maintain that heat better. So if you were to have any species small at higher latitudes, obviously on those cases, those species will be selected against because they will be losing energy, heat so fast that there will be not enough energy on the places to sustain such a small body size. And obviously resources being small make the situation even worse for species that are small. So again, that's what is called Berman's rule. And basically the general pattern is that you find an increase in body size with temperatures getting colder, and the likely explanation for that pattern is the area to mass ratio, all of it related to the area that you had exposed to the elements kind of allows you, in relationship to the mass, allows you to dissipate or maintain heat better. Now, another pattern that you will find in body size is what is called Allen's rule. Basically what happens in the Allen's rule is that the limbs and appendages get shorter or more compact in individuals living in colder temperatures, right? So if you look at the legs, the ears, actually other attributes of the species, normally what you see on those appendages of a species is that they try to shrink or become smaller at higher latitudes. The reason for that, again, is exactly the same explanation that we have for Bergmann's rule, that is probably related to the need for you to maintain energy. So here's an example. For instance, let's imagine that those are two appendages. They have the same mass, right? But here the area, I compacted this one more, right? So the area is larger. In this one, I increased the area by changing the position of the same cubes. So now the area is 28, and you can see how there is a change in the area to mass ratio. And obviously, in this case, you want to be optimizing, making this smaller so that you have less area exposed to the elements so that you can maintain, and that could explain why then the species try to reduce their appendages. And again, it's just a way to reduce the area that is exposed to the elements as a way for them to maintain energy. One of the likely explanations for Allen's rule, again, this attribute of most species having smaller appendages when it gets colder. Oh, I should point out as well that in hot temperatures, like for instance in the tropics, you actually get the opposite effect, which is appendages becoming larger or more having larger area. And again, because in those cases what you want to do is to dissipate that heat. In this case, as opposed to higher latitudes where you want to preserve heat, in colder environments you actually want to dissipate the heat as well. Another pattern that you will find in body size is what is called Coates rule. And basically what it suggests is that lineages, these lineages that we're talking about earlier, about these phylogenetic branches of evolution, what happens on those lineages is that the species tend to get bigger in body size over those lineages over evolutionary time. So here is an example of the horse, different genuses of the horse, and you can see time, and you can see how the earlier genus of that species was small in body size, but or as time comes by, those species became larger. That is what is called Cobb's rule, and again, it's basically over evolutionary time, species tend to become larger. And there seems to be different reasons for why that's the case. There is this paper by Hone and Benton in Trends in Ecology and Evolution in 2005 that suggests that obviously you are big, you're not going to get eaten as easy, but there are also benefits to mating success and fecundity, in addition, of course, as what I just mentioned about them having a higher chance of survival. So they seem to be evolutionary benefits for a species to get bigger over evolutionary time. Another pattern that you will find in body size is what is called the island rule. The island rule is very interesting, and basically what it suggests is that species that get two islands being big will become small, and species that get two islands being small will become big. So here is an example. For instance, do I have the name of who did this? I guess not. But this is a general case example of a species that have been found on islands that are also on the continents. And here what you see is the ratio of the difference in body size between the species on those islands and the species on the continent. And what you find, again, is that species that are large on the land become bigger on the island. The same species, we're talking about the same species or similar species on the continent becoming larger on the islands, and species that are larger on the continent becoming smaller on the islands. The reason for that, well, the pattern itself again is that species that are small will become large, and species that are large will become smaller. All right. The reason for that again is that maybe here you had an ecological release, and over here you have something that is called resource limitation. Again, when you get to an island being big, you obviously had a demand for a lot of energy. You are not going to have that energy there, so you are going to reduce your body size, just like in the case of the mammoth that was found on Grand Island, right? The species that got there were too big, resources were not sufficient, then the species became smaller. In other cases, when the species get to islands being small, obviously there's a lot of resources. The species are going to optimize their body size, those resources available, but then increasing the body size. They have more benefits for the cost. As a result, they will increase their body size. And again, this is something that happens when you get species that live on the continent moving to islands. And what you find again is that there is a change in body size depending on whether the species were large or small to begin with. Now, as we did with species richness, there was when I finished that chapter, I explained to you why is it that it's important for us to study species richness. We're going to be doing the same thing here to understand why is it important for us to understand body size. We already established in this lecture that one of the consequences of you becoming smaller is that you produce also fewer offspring with less capacity to survive. So that alone is a negative consequence of the species becoming smaller. However, it has been found though that normally what you find is that the species there is a higher risk of extinction on species that are large. So anytime that we start killing the animals that are large, that seems to accelerate the risk of extinction, as you can see here on this paper by Forero, which is obviously not that good given the fact that most of the evidence suggests that humans like to kill the bigger fish. The other thing that you can see again is in the risk of extinction, and what you find though is that most of the species that are large seem to be the ones that are a large risk of extinction. And you can see that in the evolutionary record. For instance, this is a paper by Dearson in Science in 2024, in which they look at the body sizes of species that have been driven to extinction by humans over recent history. And what you find though is the fact that over time we seem to be left with the species that are smaller. So here you can see the body size and the number of species in different time periods of time, and you can see how over time one of the consequences of humans is that we're being left with the subset of species that had a smaller body size. Now, another interesting piece of evidence to highlight the significance of species changing their body size is that it has been found that before the species, one of the attributes that change a lot when a species is going extinct, or one of those signals or signs that the species are in trouble in their way to extinction, is that they start reducing their body size. And this is a paper in Nature by this guy here that shows, for instance, a species of horse that went extinct. And one of the things that you can observe on this species before it went extinct is that the body size declined. So again, a very worrisome sign given the fact of what we see with the frogs, for instance, facing climate change, and many other species reducing their body size, or fishing reducing the body size of a species. Let's summarize the entire class. So we found that body size is determined by the resources, the interactions, ecological interactions like predation and competition, climate, and human-driven evolution like hunting and fishing. And as for the patterns, we found bermans rule, which is again the increasing body size with latitude, at times also the increasing body size with decreases in temperature. The Allen's rule, which is basically that the limbs or other appendages of many species tend to become smaller and more compacted, most likely as a result, as a way to protect the heat that they had. There is also the Cobb's rule, which is basically body size increasing over evolutionary time, and the island rule, which is that species from the continents that get to islands being big will become small, and species that get to islands being small will become large. And that kind of summarizes this section about body size on the patterns and processes. Thank you very much, and see you guys in the next episode.